Today I'm not stopping until we get to the end of Madden 26 franchise mode to see what the heck happens, while also keeping track of which NFL teams win the most Super Bowls by the time franchise ends. For all I know, here in Madden 26 franchise mode might not end until the year 2100. Now my guess is that the Ravens are going to be the team today to rack up the most Super Bowls by today's end, which I do want you to leave your guess in the comments on which team you think ends up today with the most Super Bowls. And surely somebody in this franchise comes out of nowhere to become a Hall of Famer. Honestly, no real shockers around the AFC outside of maybe Pittsburgh sucking. The AFC South was absolutely diabolical. Jesus Christ, the Lions about went 17-0. And outside of them, pretty much everybody else in the NFC was mid. Even the Eagles only won 10 games. I mean, the Eagles only won one more game than the freaking Saints, dude. Maybe a little shocked that the Vikings were so bad. But who do you guys think is going to be the first team to win the first of many Super Bowls today? Well, can anybody tell me why Cam Ward didn't start over Will Levis? Joe Burrow had 600 more passing yards and second in the league. Michael Penix, dude, is he going to turn into a Hall of Famer? And like his first real season, 44 touchdowns and only 9 interceptions. Jaden Daniels is still incredible. Jared Goff only threw 3 picks. I'm going to be interested, dude, to see which of these young quarterbacks turn into the faces of the NFL. Definitely not William. Not a surprise, Saquon is the NFL's leading rusher. CMC and Derrick Henry right behind him, though. Okay, definitely did not expect Travis Etienne to lead the league with 20 touchdowns, with David Montgomery right behind him with 19. Or would you look at rookie Omarion Hampton with 14 touchdowns? Well, he ended up becoming the best running back in the league. Jamar Chase leads the NFL in receiving yards with Khalil Shakir right behind him. And oh my god, dude, Brandon Ayuk with 23 touchdowns. Ray McCloud with 18. Rondale Moore, by the way, with 16. Like what are these statistics, dude? Max Crosby with 25.5 sacks, with Zaven Collins, by the way, with almost 20. Good to see my boy Jeff Simmons have a monster breakout season, but these stats are insane, dude. Like, what am I looking at? First MVP goes to Josh Allen. Joe Burrow right behind him. Michael Penix in 4th. First coach of the year today goes to Dan Campbell, who led his Lions to a 16-1 season, so well deserved. Joe Burrow wins offensive player of the year. I'm really surprised that Travis Etienne down here came in 9th, considering he scored 20 touchdowns this season. And Kayshon Boutte in 10th? Like, how did this happen? A surprise defensive player of the year in the AFC goes to Max Crosby. In the NFC goes to Jared Verse. Zaven Collins with 19.5 sacks somehow got robbed here. And offensive player of the year goes to Brandon Ayuk with his 23 touchdowns. Not rookie of the year, though. Rookie of the year in the AFC goes to Ashton Genty. Maybe it would have been different if stupid Brian Callahan wouldn't have benched Cam Ward. Jamar Stewart, defensive rookie of the year. Now in the NFC, got Michael Williams winning it. And offensive of the year goes to Tyler Shuck. I guess he did lead the Saints to 9 wins. Now, something that I do want to check out is all the trades that went down during the season. Okay, right off the rip, Chase Young got traded to the Texans for Juice Scruggs. AJ Epineza to the Panthers for a cornerback and a couple of picks. I do like how there's a lot of trades now in Madden franchise. It's one thing that didn't really happen before, but some of the trades are just absolutely insane that go down. Like Calvin Austin, a 6th and 7th round pick for Dontavian Wicks. Like, what in the world? And then immediately, the Packers went and traded Calvin Austin to the 49ers for Richie Grant and 2 6 and a 7. I've never seen the same player get traded twice in Madden history within 2 weeks. He got traded 2 consecutive weeks. Crazy game. I think it's safe to say nothing else got crazier after that, but maybe it will get crazier here with this first playoff bracket. So your first Super Bowl matchup today is the Cincinnati Bengals versus the 16-1 Detroit Lions. Now, there is some crazy stuff that happened in this playoff run. You had the 8-win Jags make it to the conference championship game, but unfortunately for them, they lost by almost 50 points. The Lions were able to get their revenge on the Commanders here. Now, let's see if they can go and win their first ever Super Bowl. Moment of truth. It's the Cincinnati Bengals and Joe Burrow to get it done. They're our first Super Bowl champion of the day for Detroit, man. Surely Dan Campbell will get another chance by the time franchise ends, right? Now, there's always a ton of retirements after year 1 of franchise mode. I don't know if they did something with the age. I don't know if, like, players retire earlier, but I've noticed I've never seen so many players retire in a franchise mode before after the first season. Like, there's so much talent, so many veterans. I'm just going to scroll through. As you can see, it's always so depressing seeing how much talent, how many memories, how much nostalgia is leaving the NFL at a singular moment. I guarantee you half these players that retire in-game will probably play for another season or two at bare minimum. It's just a weird thing where there's an age cutoff for certain positions. They just retire automatically no matter how good they are, how good they can continue to be. And all this depresses me. My friend retired. Season 1 has been pretty crazy. Let's see if things can get crazier here in our first off-season. Now, I do want to point out that I have every setting in this franchise set to auto, so today's simulation is all up to each team's front office. We'll talk about things getting crazier, boys. Kevin Stefanski, now the head coach of the Giants, as Brian Daboll, now the offensive coordinator of the Bears. All while David here is now the offensive coordinator for the Lions. Now, what was the biggest free agent signing of the offseason? You had Reed Blankenship to the 49ers, Kayshon Boutte, who had a great year last year, signed with the Raiders on a big contract, Aiden Hutchinson on a 3-year, $86 million contract to the Atlanta Falcons. Dan, what are you doing? Now, highly doubt they're going to win 16 games again next season. Now I don't know if they're ever going to make it back to the Super Bowl. Surely that's going to be the biggest deal of the offseason, right? George Pickens to the LA Chargers on a 3-year, $50 million contract. That is a wild one. Christian Watson to the Falcons, Hollywood Brown to the 49ers, Kevin Byard to the Raiders. I'm not going to lie, dude. This offseason so far is already psychotic. Hey, maybe this is what will finally help bring the Giants back to the Super Bowl. Now I'm excited to see what sort of generational prospects is going to be in this year's draft class. So the highest rated rookie in the first draft class, my Tennessee Titans got themselves an 80 rated tight end, which is incredible. An 84 rated left guard is insane. Miguel Alonso, you beauty. I mean, there was multiple 82 rated, so I think it's safe to say the draft classes this year are a little bit more juiced when compared to last year. I mean, there's a ton of players over 75 rated, which is insane for a bunch of rookies. It looks like the highest rated quarterback, though, was a 74. No 99 speed players in this draft class. I wonder if that's even a possibility. We'll keep tabs on that. I think it's safe to say season 1 was wild. I got a feeling here that season number 2 is going to be even wilder. Well, I'm assuming my Titans didn't have the best of seasons because I got fired. But around the rest of the league for now, the Eagles back on track as the #1 team in the National Football League. Ravens #2, Falcons with a great season, Vikings with a bounce back, Chiefs only winning 10 games, kind of a shocker. Oh, multiple teams made the playoffs with only 8 wins. I told you guys the Lions were going to fall off. Why didn't they pay Aiden Hutchinson, bunch of idiots? Oh, so the reigning Super Bowl champions missed the playoffs. So at least means we'll have a different winner this season. Now, I told you Nathan Peterman was at least going to make the Giants a little bit better. Oh, what a shocker. Saints and Browns back down to reality. At least Cam Ward wasn't too bad in the first season he started. Okay, so a common theme here is that Joe Burrow is going to lead the league in passing yards every season. So I wonder if he can end up breaking all of Tom Brady's passing records. Oh, and that rookie quarterback that wasn't the greatest overall had a decent season, maybe threw a little bit too many interceptions. Matt Stafford is still super efficient as a 90-year-old. I told you guys Michael Penix is a dog, dude. 46 touchdowns again. Why in year 2 is Deshaun Watson still playing meaningful snaps for the Browns? No wonder they sucked. Not a shocker, Saquon leads the league in rushing again. Josh Jacobs right behind him. Derrick Henry still chugging along, as you know, a pretty old running back. Bijan and Ashton Jeanty with really good seasons. I told you guys, Armarian Hampton is beginning to cook. Oh, JSN leads the league for the first time in his career in receiving yards. Jamar Chase, 122 catches is nuts. Ted McMillan is turning into quite the beast, dudes. Chris Godwin is still chucking along, 18 touchdowns. Puka Nacua, Jaden Reed with great seasons. This rookie, who combined with that rookie quarterback for the Giants, great year. Alan Lazard in 2026, by the way, still putting up 1,000+ yards, 12 touchdowns. Tutu Atwell, same thing with the Eagles, by the way, 19 touchdowns? All the while, Malik Neighbors is only putting up 3. Who led the league this year? Tutu. That's just crazy work. We also have insane stats defensively again this season. We had, 5 players with over 20 sacks. I told you guys the Lions were idiots for not re-signing this guy. That's something I've noticed too, man. There is so many sacks in Madden franchise. Like, it's unrealistic, man. Like, it's insane to have this many players, over 17, over 20 sacks. Jalen Hurts wins MVP, but with all those sacks happening, dude, I'm wondering if by the end of the day, we have a defense defensive player at least get top 10 MVP votes. Also, by the end of the day, I fully expect Michael Penix to win 1, 2, maybe even 3 MVPs by the time he retires. Not a shocker that Nicholas wins Coach of the Year. I'm talking about not a shocker. There's really no surprises when it comes to offensive and defensive players of the year. Maybe we will get a surprise in the playoffs here. I'm wearing a Ravens jersey. I told you guys I think the Ravens are going to win the most Super Bowls today by the time franchise ends, so I'm going to guess Ravens made it. I don't know because I'm still freaking fired. What did I freaking tell you, fellas? Both 1 seeds make it this season. Ravens versus Eagles. What a matchup. Come on, let me get on the board, dude. Let me look like a genius here, Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry. Does Derrick Henry win his first ever ring before he retires, which could definitely be after this season with how the retirement's going franchise mode? Come on, get a ring for the king. The Eagles don't need another one. FYI, we just signed with the Browns for this. And there it is. We are on the board as Baltimore joins Cincinnati as today's Super Bowl winners. And what is a surprise, out of all the Ravens that could have possibly won it, Malachi Starks wins Super Bowl MVP. Again, another season where there's so many depressing retirements, man. Like I told you guys, Derrick Henry at least rides off into the sunset with a Super Bowl dub. The day he retires, I'm going to be a sad, sad boy. Matthew Stafford's gone too. It's literally like every single veteran over the age of 30 retires by the time the second season's over with. Trent Williams gone. Chris Jones after just 11 seasons. Like I don't get all these guys retiring like in their early 30s. Like yeah, at 35 it makes sense. Not Matt Milano after 10 years. So who is the most insane free agency signing here in season number 2's offseason? Okay, so there's offseason trades that I didn't even know was a thing. A couple of late draft picks for Jonas Sanker. I mean, you guys might not think it's special, but I think it's the coolest thing that was added to Madden franchise out of everything that they did add. Kayvon Thibodeau to the Raiders is a big one. Isaiah Simmons, who had an incredible season just a few years ago, is signing just a 2-year, $7 million contract. Justin Fields to the Cleveland Browns on a 3-year, $90 million contract. I'm sure that's going to go over well. Tutu Atwell rewarded for his incredible season, 3 years, $25 mil. Ooh, my Titans lost Tyjae Spears to the Giants. Will Levis to the Jets on a 3-year, $54 million contract. Dude, Jets fans, close your eyes. Outside of that, though, the only other really big deal this offseason was Trent Brown to the Cardinals on a $20 million contract. So last year's draft class was ridiculous. So let's see if this 2027 draft class here can bring even more generational prospects to the NFL. I mean, they need to replace all these retirements. The highest rated prospect in this year's draft class is only an 80 rated. So nowhere near last year's class. So I guess it is nice to see there is quite a bit of variety. This year's fastest player is a 95, so still no 99s yet. So finally made it to 2027. Let's see if third time is truly a charm and we can get some type of insane Super Bowl winner this year. So I think you guys are well aware we have the greatest time of the year, football season, rapidly approaching us, which is exactly why I'm here to tell you about my special hookup with today's sponsor, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the planet's #1 rated ticketing app with over 28 million downloads. Big reason why, so they have over 70,000 events listed on the app, sports, concerts, festivals, and more. And I think by this moment in time, you guys know how much I love myself some SeatGeek. Got the receipts to prove it, as every single sporting event I've attended for the last 6 years, I've used SeatGeek. Not to mention that SeatGeek is super simple to use, as every single ticket on their platform is rated on a scale from 1 to 10, so you know exactly when you're getting a good deal. This is important. Make sure you look for the green dots, as green means good, red means bad. Plus, every single ticket is backed by their buyer guarantee. You guys already know I got a special hookup for you, as you can use code RBT10 to get 10% off your next tickets at SeatGeek. Again, that's 10% off any tickets at SeatGeek with promo code RBT10. Kind of crazy, I have to say. They hire Brian Callahan, signed Justin Fields, and it brought him from 4 to 11 wins. And imagine after that, they go and win the Super Bowl here. That's one thing I noticed here. What a crazy fall off from year 1 Super Bowl champion. And also, we've gotten to the point where the Chiefs don't make the playoffs every year. I mean, even though the Bengals suck right now, Joe Burrow, for the 3rd consecutive season, continues to lead the league in passing yards, not passing touchdowns, though, because that goes to Patrick Mahomes. Even though he had an insane season, they still missed the playoffs. Josh Allen with another phenomenal season. Tyler Shuck has actually turned into a half-decent quarterback, dude, and oh my god, Michael Penix by far the worst season we've seen from him yet. Oh, I'm not gonna lie, dude, not too impressed with how Cam Ward's performing right now, which we are gonna go and check what some of these young rookies have progressed to overall-wise in just a second. Joe Mixon, not Saquon this time around, leads the league in rushing yards with Jahmyr Gibbs, Bucky Irving, Bijan, and Ashton Jeanty right behind him, with Armarian Hampton leading the league with 17 touchdowns. Not a shocker, Jamar Chase leads in receiving yards, with Jaden Reed and JSN right behind him. Josh Downs with a career year where he led the league tied with Brandon Ayuk in receiving touchdowns. Now, did we again have a season where there was like 5+ players with over 20 sacks? And oh my god, dude, this is ridiculous. Okay, at least for my Titans, you know, Oladejos turned into a pretty good pass rusher with 27.5 sacks. This is crazy, dude. They gotta fix this. Pretty much 30 sacks for Myles Garrett, pretty much 30 sacks for Max Crosby, Yaya Diaby with 22. There's just no planet. There should be 9 players with over 20 sacks. That's just not realistic. Dumb game. So is this the season where we had a defensive player get top 10 MVP votes? Yes, we did. I knew it was coming. Myles Garrett, the first defender. How did not win it with almost 30 sacks? That's nutty. But getting MVP votes to the defensive player is crazy enough in Madden. Again, not a shocker. Pat Mahomes won it. Brian Callahan, how funny, dude. This is hilarious. He wins Coach of the Year. That's just like not what was supposed to happen, but it did. And we are going to go ahead and simulate to the Super Bowl to see this year's matchup. And after that, we'll see how some of the ratings are looking around the league. Your 3 Super Bowl matchup is the Houston Texans and the Philadelphia Eagles. So at least we'll get ourselves a 3rd different Super Bowl champion today. I guess let's go ahead and do it. Let's go ahead and see who year 3 Super Bowl champion is. It's not the Eagles, so we all can celebrate. Welcome, Houston Texans, to the Super Bowl champions list. Surely somebody has got to win multiple Super Bowls today, right? Let's check some ratings out, boys. Highest rated players in the league. Oh my god. There's a lot of 99 rated players. There's only 7, right? There's only 7 real 99 rated players in Madden 26 when you start. And now there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I feel like it needs to be fixed. I feel like it's a little bit too many, which these 3 being 99s is fine. Outside of that, my god, dude, that guy for the Giants who was like a 72 rated when he was drafted is all the way up to like a 95. Tyler Shucks up to an 87. I'm surprised Michael Penix isn't higher than him. They're both higher rated than Tua at this point. Cam Ward is up to like an 85, the same rating as Bo Nix. Bryce Young's kind of stalled at an 83, as had Trevor Lawrence. Well, Jackson Dart didn't get any higher rating than 75, and I'm assuming at this point he's a backup. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan, both 99s. Jeanty right behind him is a 98. Bucky Irving as well, probably end up becoming a 99 before he retires. Saquon is starting to go down a little bit year by year. And you got other multiple running backs in the 90s, which is crazy. Hampton up to a 94. When it comes to top rated wide receivers, I mean, nobody really shocked me. Maybe Lab McConkey being in the 90s, which, I mean, I guess he's that good, so nothing too crazy. This youngster, 2nd-year wide receiver, Rashard Butler, already a 90. Marvin Harrison's up there, as is Khalil Shakir. I feel like in this year's Madden, you just see so many players higher rated. I don't know if it's something with the progression system. I mean, you don't see many offensive linemen, so it looks like the skill position players progress a lot more than the O-linemen. Give the offensive linemen some love, dude. Now, it doesn't surprise me that there's multiple high-rated pass rushers since there's so many freaking sacks throughout the season. I'm surprised they're not like freaking 15 99 rated pass rushers. One thing I have noticed in franchise, you never have multiple high-rated Sam linebackers. I mean, I think franchise starts with like maybe 2 over 80 rated, so that's just weird, the discrepancy there. Although you have a ton of really good Mike linebackers. Ooh, Carson Schweinsinger up to a 92. Jahai Campbell, now the highest rated will linebacker in the entire league, which is interesting. You got Henley having a really good career. Ivan Pace up there. Christian Gonzalez, the highest rated corner in the league at a 99 with Trent McDuffie right behind him. Sauce, Patrick Surtain up there too. And Travis Hunter up to a 95 rated corner. This is another thing too, dude. You still have Jesse Bates, the highest rated free safety. I don't get it. Like, safeties never progress fast at all in franchise mode. Like, you hardly ever see high rated safeties. Nick is like the highest rated youngster that I've seen, you know, progress up to like an 87. I guess Jonas Sanker is kind of up there too, but need to fix that. The safeties need love too, as do the offensive linemen. Now, what we're going to do from here is go ahead and simulate to the year 2030 and into that new decade. Thankfully, my Titans are back in the playoffs at this point. And before we go check if Cam Ward's still our quarterback at this point, you can blame YouTube on why I'm having to post-commentate this next 30 seconds. And nothing too crazy's happened in the AFC at this point, as you have the Buffalo Bills dominating the conference, although the Browns making the playoffs may be a little crazy. I was definitely happy, you know, to see my Titans with the 3rd best record in the NFL, which at this this point, seems like the Bears are the worst team. Even the 49ers are kind of bad. And thankfully, Cam's still our starting quarterback in 2030 and is actually playing some pretty good football, which he's got up to a decent 86 overall rating. We'll take it. And that quarterback that the Giants drafted earlier has transformed into an absolute dog. JJ McCarthy, Trevor Lawrence putting up some pretty good numbers, as is Pat Mahomes. Also have to say, Baker Mayfield back to the Browns is crazy. No wonder they're able to win the AFC North. And I told you, Michael Penix still putting up incredible numbers. And speaking of incredible numbers, Josh Allen threw a singular interception all season. They do Burrow on the Raiders. Interesting. Justin Fields is who replaced Baker Mayfield. I even realized Jared Goff on the Cowboys is just nuts. Safe to say some crazy stuff has happened in the last couple years. Not a shocker to me that Genty is leading the league in rushing yards at this point. Kenneth Walker right behind him, as is Jahmyr Gibbs. And Caleb Johnson on the Steelers, who I really expect to turn into an incredible running back, which apparently he is. And Hampton Duke continues to lead the league in rushing touchdowns. Justin Jefferson going the frick off, boys. 1,700 yards, 25 touchdowns. We have ourselves a beast out of Ohio State. 5'9" receiver with 100 catches, 1,400 yards, 17 touchdowns. Like, Neighbors still cooking, CD's cooking. A bunch of young bucks have turned into studs. You have Luther Burden, who's turned into a quality receiver himself, as is Jalen McMillan now in the Cowboys. 25 touchdowns is crazy, as is 20 from Devontae Smith. What about sacks, dude? Do we have somebody with 30 plus sacks at this point? No. At least it's a little bit more realistic now. MVP at this point is Michael Penix. I called it earlier, and your boy is a genius. Let's go see who wins the 2030 Super Bowl before we go check some of the ratings. Oh, wow. We have the 7-seed Giants against the 5-seed Chargers, which after this simulation, we'll have to go see who won the last few Super Bowls and update our list and see if anybody's finally won multiple Super Bowls today. For all we know, one of those two teams already won one. This year's winner is the Los Angeles Chargers, with Amari and Hampton still cooking. Let's go ahead and reveal. The 2028 Super Bowl champion was the Philadelphia Eagles. So they were knocking on the door for a while, and they finally got it done in their third consecutive appearance. Let's see. In 2029, they went back-to-back. No, they didn't. Of course, the Chiefs get on the board. So kind of interesting. We've gone through 6 seasons and have had 6 different Super Bowl champions. I still have faith in the Ravens, though, to be today's winner. So the ratings at this point in time, Mykel Williams somehow is a Titan, our highest-rated player. Prize Aladejo, after his 27-sack season, didn't get any higher than a 90, which is still solid. We have Landon Dickerson, J.C. Latham, Ham's in 86. Now, across the league, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 99 rated players, which out of all these guys outside of Aiden Hutchinson and Joe Burrow are on the same team. I just want to know why the Bengals didn't re-sign Joe Burrow, dude. Genty is the only 99 rated running back at this point in time. Although Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan's kind of knocking on the door, surprise Hampton with all the touchdowns he scored didn't get up to a 99. But a lot of 90 plus rated running backs at this point. I don't believe literally any of them have changed teams. So wide receiver now, Justin Jefferson's fell down to a 96. We have Jason Drake London at 95. I don't think any of these top wide receivers also have changed teams, which is, again, kind of boring at this point. Garrett Wilson, he's a Steeler. There's a difference. Interesting, Ted McMillan, the only guy that started today as a rookie receiver that made it to a 90. No 99 tight end. Doesn't shock me that the Chiefs tight end is the highest rated because their playbook just always has a tight end turn into an X factor, so I wish EA would fix that because it's stupid. Brock Bowers didn't even become a 99. Not that many tight ends actually made it over 90 rated. Now, this is an interesting one. Aronde Gadsden. I don't remember if he was an undrafted free agent or a late draft pick. He's up to an 88, so he's one of the few guys that we've seen that really started as a low overall, developed into an absolute stud. Even higher than first-round pick Colston Loveland. And even Tyler Warren, dude, who only got up to an 84. Now, again, offensive lineman, man. EA, we gotta do something about this. The offensive linemen just don't progress in this game. Will Campbell, third overall pick from when we started, only up to an 87. They gotta fix this. There's surely gotta be some left tackles in the league that need to be over 90. Is it like that across the entire offensive line? I mean, there's, outside of right guard, there's only like a handful, and outside of right tackle, only a handful of players that are like high-rated offensive linemen. Same on defense, though, as there is a ton of high-rated edge rushers. Mar Stewart's up to a 94. Nick Bosa at 33, still at a 93. Jalen Walker changed teams. He's a Patriot. Mike Green is a Packer. He's a beast. Donovan changed teams. He's a commander. Weird though, there's not a lot of high-rated right edge rushers, which just doesn't make sense to me. Although there is a ton of high-rated defensive tackles. I mean, there's a ton of players over 90 rated. I mean, what, 10, 15? At least now we have a lot of Sam linebackers over 80 rated, which again, you start franchise with there being like 2. Carson Schweinsinger is still the highest rated Mike linebacker in the entire league, with Edgerrin Cooper right behind him. Jack Campbell and Drew Sanders a few overall behind them. Jahad Campbell still the highest rated will linebacker in the league. And after him, it's a bunch of young bucks and Nick Martin, who I just didn't expect. Some good high-rated cornerbacks, as again, pretty much everybody has stayed on their original teams. Travis Hunter maxes out here at a 94 rated. Bunyan Mitchell also up to a 90. Still, dude, like I said, free safeties don't get that high rated. Kirby Jones is the highest, and Jesse Bates, who's 34, still the second highest rated. A strong safety, kind of the same thing. Brian Branch, 95 overall. Kyle Hamilton, still one of the highest at 93. And some youngsters who can't get past the 90. Xavier McKinney, kind of a beast now on the Steelers, up to a 90 rated. And just curious too, highest rated kickers in the league at an 86, Brandon Aubrey, and then a punter got Connor Summers. Oh, hold on, what about long snapper? 10 plus years into franchise mode, and the highest rated long snapper is an 80. So as you see, they really don't get that higher rated. So now things are about to get mighty juicy, and the NFL is about to be flipped upside down, as we're going to simulate 10 more years into the future, into the 2040 season. We accidentally made it to 2041, and I guess we're going to go ahead and simulate the end of this season, where we have the Colts and New York Giants Super Bowl matchup. Now there's so much that we got to see, because so much has probably happened. The Seahawks had the best record in the league, although they didn't make it to the Super Bowl. Worst record at this point in time is the Eagles. So definitely things have changed around the NFL at this point. There's probably not a single player left in the league that's actually real. If there is, I'm going to be shocked. So there's only 3 real 99 rated players at this point. I'm interested, dudes. I don't think there is a single real player left in the league. Now, one thing I noticed, I'm pretty sure there's a hard cap. For some reason, I think it's silly. I think it's stupid. I don't think players, the one thing we found out today, I don't think players can play past the age of 35 in franchise. For some reason, they have it coded where if you're like past 35, you immediately retire, even if you're a quarterback. And there's so many times we've seen quarterbacks play past 35. They gotta fix that. Yeah, there's gotta be an anomaly. There's like a Tom Brady that plays past 35, because that's stupid, dude. Curious about running back as well. There is only one running back that's 32. So apparently you can't get past 32 at running back. And a wide receiver, you can't get past 33. That's gotta be fixed. That's gotta be fixed. There's been multiple receivers who've been good after 33. There is a ton of quarterbacks in the 90s. My God. Same thing with running back, and same thing with wide receiver. And I'm assuming, God, there's like 20 90 plus rated receivers. And I'm assuming at this point, a lot of tight ends as well. Hold on. Is the top rated tight end a Chief? Oh, wow. No, that shocks me. But at the same time, like compared to other positions, like there's hardly any offensive linemen that are over 90 rated. That's just a little crazy to me. Not a single right tackle. A ton of edge rushers, which doesn't shock me. So a bunch of defensive linemen. Okay, at least at this point, if anything, Sam linebacker finally gets some high rateds again when you start with only like 2 in the entire game. That's over 80. Some good Mikes, some good Wills, a lot of good corners. How about safety though? That's the thing. Okay, at least there's at this point quite a few free safeties over 90. In strong safety though, you only got a couple. I'm interested. Kicker. There's a 92 rated Manny Santos. Punter. Okay, at punter, there's a multiple 90 plus rateds, which is interesting. And long snapper though, doesn't seem like we've seen a single one over 82 rated today. Now let's go see who wins this Super Bowl. And after that, go see who won the Super Bowl the last 10 seasons and see if we finally have a leader. The New York Giants, boys, on the board. But now time to comb through the last 10 Super Bowl winners and see if we finally have a leader. So first bit of business, 2031, the New York Jets in a all-New York Super Bowl. What a freaking matchup, dude, as they win their first Super Bowl. Okay, look at Caleb Williams actually winning himself an MVP. Now in 2032, ooh, the Jets almost went back-to-back, but we have the 49ers win it, and we had Caleb Williams go back-to-back and win another MVP. But who's going to be the first team to win a second Super Bowl? It's going to be the New York Jets, and I promise you that is just not what I expected, boys. We finally have ourselves a leader. JJ McCarthy with his first ever NFL MVP. In 2034, did they go back-to-back? No, the Vikings with their first. Vikings have one now. And what I tell ya, Michael Penix with another MVP. 2035, we have the Vikings going back-to-back, defeating my Tennessee Titans, led by, once again, two-time MVP JJ McCarthy. So fellas, we have a tie. 2036, we have the New York Jets, fellas, and another New York Super Bowl as they immediately take the lead back. My God, dude, Caleb Williams, how many MVPs is that? Surely the Jets didn't win again, right? That would be a freaking dynasty. No, the Lions finally win their first ever Super Bowl. All at the same time, this is definitely not JJ McCarthy's first ever MVP. 2038, we have my Tennessee Titans, for the first time in franchise history, are Super Bowl champions. So it's finally nice, you know, to be one of the 12 teams a part of this prestigious list. Come on, tell me we went back to back? No. The Falcons make a 13th team on the board. We're almost caught up to date. Last year's Super Bowl champion, I'm manifesting it, the Tennessee Titans. It is the Houston Texans who get their second. So up to date all the way to 2041, I think to everybody's surprise, the Jets are in the lead with 3 Super Bowls. So now time to do it again, boys, and simulate another 10 years into the future and see if we can make it to the 2050 season. For all we know, franchise ends before then. For all we know, franchise doesn't end until 2100. So we've made it all the way to 2051. Let's just skip right ahead and see who wins this year's Super Bowl. And dude, I definitely could have went the entirety of franchise mode without the Colts winning the Super Bowl and died a happy man. And before we check out the last 10 Super Bowl winners, let's see. I mean, there are a ton of 99 overalls at this point, which it seems to be the same amount per position as it was in 2040. Still not a single right tackle over 90, which is nuts. You can kind of see what the max is per position that you can kind of expect, and that's the first 99 strong safety I have ever seen today. I have a 96 rated punter and an 86 long snapper. That is the highest rated long snapper we've ever seen in NFL history. Wait a second, hold on. Did we actually get ourselves a superstar long snapper? Oh, here we go, dudes. This is about to be massive. Well, the past decade have brought us a new leader. In 2042, we had the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're another team first on the board, their first Super Bowl in 20 years. 2043, the Miami Dolphins, another team first on the board. That means over half of the teams in the NFL at this point have won the Super Bowl in this franchise. 2044 brings us the first Buffalo Bills Super Bowl in franchise history. I cannot believe it took until 2044. Come on, give me a Titans Super Bowl. They gave me a Rams Super Bowl, which is again their first of the franchise. Titans, please. Titans, please. We get a San Francisco 49ers Super Bowl, which is their second. In 2047, ooh, the Bills. It took them 20 years to get one, and they got a second within 3 seasons. Imagine after all that, they end up winning. In 2048, the New York Giants get their second of the franchise. In 2049, the Cleveland Browns, for the first time in franchise history, are Super Bowl champions. And last but not least, in 2050, you have the Miami Dolphins, who won their second time in the last decade. So even though they didn't win a Super Bowl in the last decade, the Jets hang on to the lead with 3 Super Bowls up to this point, which is crazy because 19 different teams have won a Lombardi Trophy today. So even though we're in 2051, let's see if we can go make it another 10 years into the future. Wait, is that it? We're at the end of 2055, and literally all I can do from here is retire my coach. So 30 seasons in, apparently, is where franchise mode ends. You can't go any further. And as we see here, it looks like you had another Colts Super Bowl victory. Oh, God, fellas, it's all going to come down to these last 3 seasons. In 2052, you have the Miami Dolphins win again, and they are now tied for the lead at 3. So if they won again in these last 2 years, they take home the challenge. But currently, it is tied between them and the Jets. Let's see. 2053, my Tennessee Titans with their second of the day. So it all comes down to this, because we already saw the 2055 Super Bowl. The Colts won it. So here we are in 2054. Super Bowl winner is... oh, the Jets were so close. As the Falcons win their second. The Jets not clutching this up means that we end today with a 2-way tie between the Dolphins and Jets with 3 Super Bowls each. But also curious, at the end of Madden franchise, Patrick Mahomes goes down as the greatest player of all time. Behind him, Abdul Carter Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, and Aiden Hutchinson. And I have to say, dude, if here at the end of Madden franchise, as the only thing we do is click retire coach, literally all we can do here with Patrick is just click retire from the league. So this is all that happens at the end of Madden 26 franchise. If you retire for good, you'll quit the league and your progress will be lost. Are you sure you want to retire? I mean, do I have any other choice? And now we have invisible franchises on my game. But I have to say, at the end of the day, with all these teams that have won a Super Bowl, although we didn't get a clear winner, feels good for my favorite team to actually have won some. With over half the teams actually winning the Super Bowl in the past 30 years, if you're a fan of one of the teams that did win a Super Bowl, get good, buddy. Now, hopefully you enjoyed that one, and if you did, you can click right here to watch another Madden 26 banger. Also, while you're still here, please click that subscription button. I'm desperate.